kids? It's Jurassic James, and on this Jurassic James Explains, we're looking at Ampelosaurus. So, first and foremost, the same year, 1989, the same year that Taylor Swift was born, they found this dinosaur. Same rules apply. We have older model to newer model. When I first saw this one on Instagram, I thought it was a Camarasaurus. Camarasaurus, as you know, is one of my favorite sauropods from late Jurassic North America, Morrison Formation. And then I thought it was like a short-necked Camarasaurus, but I saw the armor and I was like, that's different. And then I looked it up. So, in 1889, they found a bunch of ribs, some limb bones, and some osteoderm, armored skin. So think of a crocodile's armor on its back, and they were up to 10 to 11 inches long, which is pretty big. And they found 4 different types from multiple animals. And that was this guy here. So this is the, let's see, this is Collect A Ampelosaurus. Now, Collect A is a company that they don't really make, well, they're starting to make bigger figures now, but initially they only made them this size, like these smaller, like 10, 8-inch figures. And every so often I would just go on like eBay and like collect a dinosaurs and see what species are coming out. So that's how I actually found this one here. As far as the design goes, we don't have any limb bones, but it is a Titanosaur. It's found in Lake Cretaceous France. So the idea is we have an idea. In fact, the name of Ampelosaurus means vine lizard. If you don't know, the parts of like particularly southern France have all these wineries basically. So if you see its translation on my website, it's like vine lizard, vineyard lizard, because it was found near a vineyard where they grow grapes for wine, basically. And I remember once I was reading about one of the kings of England attacking France, and they were in the southern France, and they destroyed the wine vineyards, and everyone's like, okay, whatever, but like, no, but back then that's a big deal. That's a big part of their economy. So anyway, so it's a Titanosaur. So what's going on is that France, Europe is a series of islands in the Cretaceous period. So we see what's called dwarfism in some areas. Now, when I say dwarfism, Ampelosaurus is only about 52 feet long, and for a sauropod, for a Titanosaur, it's really small. And the idea is that you say, how do you define that in an evolutionary sense? Is that if you are smaller than your ancestors, so we have found Titanosaurs that are 80 feet long, 100 feet long, who are older, and we find this one's only 52 feet long, that means they have diminished in size. For example, the Margosaurus, there's a group called Dicraeosaurs. These long necks are kind of small. The Jurassic Dicraeosaurs and the Cretaceous Dicraeosaurs are around the same size. They're all like 40 feet, 50 feet long. So that's not really a change. But we go from being gigantic Titanosaurs to this guy, it's adapting to the environment. And we see dwarf animals, we see little humans like Homo florensis, we see little mammoths about 4,000 years ago. But the most important thing I want to point out is where it falls in. So Titanosaurs, who are they? The most famous one I think right now, or at least initially, was Saltosaurus, which is often being questioned. There's a new guy on the block. It's the Patagoniasaurus. If you hear about the Titanosaur and the Field Museum in Chicago, it's this guy here. We have Argentinosaurus, in many circles the largest Titanosaur. In North Africa, we have with Spinosaurus, Paralititan, and of course in North America we have Alamosaurus, but not that Alamo. It's not named after the Alamo of Texas. It's the Alamo Formation. So these are all Titanosaurs. One thing they're known for, some of them are known for, is they have armor plating in their skin, which is really cool because when you're teaching kids about dinosaur family trees, and you mention that Thyrea 4 are the shield bearers, like Ankylosaurus and Stegosaurs, then you introduce Titanosaurs with shields and armor. They're like, wait, I know it's weird, but they're sauropods. So that being said, my first thought looking at this guy is, it makes sense for everything about it, where it's found, what it lives with, what it eats, all kind of falls into place. But this little guy here is a great model of it. I like the skull. They actually found the back of the skull later on. There's over 500 bones known from this animal, so that's kind of a big deal for any sauropod, much less, But the armor plating they found, the 10 to 12 inch armor, were different shapes. So there's some that are more bulbous, some that are more flat, some that are more spiky, which means you're seeing different armor designs around different parts of the body, which is really kind of cool. Finally, I want to mention with that idea is that I thought it was a Camarasaurus. They look, because Ampelosaurus has a shorter neck than most sauropods, that's probably a definition of feeding. Camarasaurus was the most abundant sauropod in late Jurassic North America, and it was, I wouldn't say the most generic. There were long neck feeders. They were more the Diplodocus type, more slender, were feeding one way. The Brachiosaurus fed higher. They were in the kind of middle ground, so it kind of shows you kind of a more generic feeding style. So this is my only one one of my few European dinosaurs from the Cretaceous period until I saw this one. Now, this is the Jurassic World Ampelosaurus, and again, I thought it was the Camarasaurus with more armor, but because the toy makers put armor on things that don't have armor sometimes. But let's see. let us begin. Let's see, it's insert here, up, turn, and click, and that are, those go the official scissors of Jurassic James. And I believe it's just so easy to remove. As far as design go, here you have the animal up close and personal, and you compare it to the initial one. They actually, I mean, granted, this is for kids. This, I mean, they're all toys, but the large arm on the back, the plates right here. From my understanding, in the dig site, they didn't find an articulate skeleton. It wasn't laying out like a certain way. These are just the bones come together. So the way the armor is aligned is kind of a guess, educated guess, but guess nevertheless. And so they have both of the spiky armor on top, and we're, you know, like round type down here. The tail is too short for this one, but it does use the mouth can open and close, which is always cool. And if I remember correctly, yeah, the head does all this stuff. So there's two, the head, yeah. So the neck and the shoulders, they can rotate like this. The feet are given very generic Macronarian feet. Macronaria being the group that includes the Titanosaurs and the Brachiosaurs and Camarasaurs, where the Diplodocus type usually have, like, they don't have like these bones in our hand. They don't have the lower two phalanges or our fingers. They only have like the metacarpal and then these things here and a giant thumb spike. So we see the crescent-shaped footprints. Macronarians often have like 4 to 5 toes, or depending on the species, and they're more like, there's more of, sorry, and more spiked. I'm sorry, that was really exciting. So these two are here. Now, what dinosaurs we find here, again, they're, because of Europe being a series of islands, a lot of the dinosaurs found in late Cretaceous Europe are smaller. So in other area parts of this region, you'll find duckbills who are like 10 feet long versus 20 feet long. You'll find predators that would normally be 30 feet long somewhere else, or 15 feet long, or down to 10 or 5. So it's really an unusual thing. The only dinosaur I can tell you that would have, in this line, that would have been close to it was the Pyroraptor. They are found in France and other places too, but they're found in this, there's one species of Pyroraptor found in the same rock layer as Ampelosaurus. So if you're looking for your Jurassic World ecology builder, I don't know, you'll put these two together because they're from the same time and space, roughly. Unlike the other animals. These are European dinosaurs, particularly French dinosaurs, so it's worth noting there. That's pretty much it for this guy. Like I said, I look at this one, and looking at it, I will mention one more thing, actually. When you look at there's the eyes like right there, the ears right there, and here's the nostril. Now, this part right here, what we see in sauropods, they also have a bone, like their nasal bone, the nose bone, is like moved up. A paper by Dr. Larry Whitmer, Whitmer Labs, he was saying that even though the hole is up here for the actual nostril, sorry, the hole in the skull for the nasal passage is hip here, the actual nostril would be actually down here. So even though the hole's here, a more accurate one has the nostrils right in the front, because he pointed out, and I met him in person at the museum one day, and the idea of the hole for the nasal, maybe not down here, but it's up here, but the soft tissue would cover it, and you still have your nostrils in front. And the idea is that, think of a dog, a pig, those are all mammals. Think of many other animals, their noses are pushed forward, and they're trying to smell first and follow the smell. And I'll give you this bonus trivia question: why do we have 2 nostrils? And the answer is because when we're smelling things, which way the smell come from? If it smells stronger this way, we can go that way, like that. Same with snakes, their 2 flickered tongues. They're tasting for things, and if you taste more that way, well, you go that way. So anyway, that was your bonus question fact of the day. But overall, cool figure. I wish the tail were a little longer, but I get packaging is an issue. But again, that biting action, they're really big on that in this line. Giving the biting, even herbivores. I think it's a really cool figure, though. It's really neat. It's a different, it's a surprise sauropod. Oh, I'm not sure if I showed you. There's a DNA code you scan for your phone things, kids. That being said, this is Ampelosaurus. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next week. For everyone else, YouTube, please subscribe, ring a bell, comment below, like, share. I think I have like 170 subscribers now, which I know in YouTube world is nothing, but I really appreciate that people actually want to hear this about dinosaur toys and where they fit in. So keep doing that. Keep subscribing. Anyway, see you later.